Welcome back everyone to the channel where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, unbelievable discoveries, and hidden treasures that might just be sitting in your pocket change. And today we are going to take you on a long and thrilling journey into the story of the extraordinary 2001 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and investors alike by being valued at a jaw-dropping $27 million because of its rare errors, its unique mistakes, and the countless intriguing possibilities that make it so valuable. And as we unfold the details, you are going to learn exactly why such a small copper-plated zinc coin that most people overlook or ignore could suddenly become a fortune-changing piece of history. So let's dive into the reasons behind its astronomical worth, starting with the fact that the 2001 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint during a time when billions of pennies were produced, making it sound like an ordinary year with nothing to offer. But in reality, that massive production run, combined with the transition period in minting technology, created the perfect environment for a variety of minting errors that were not only rare but in some cases absolutely unique to just a handful of surviving specimens. And when those errors surface, they can elevate a coin's value from 1 cent to millions of dollars. And the 2001 D 1 cent is the best example of how a coin can become a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. So let us look closer at some of the key mistakes and how they contribute to that unbelievable $27 million value, starting with double dies, which are among the most famous and desirable types of minting errors because they happen when the die used to strike the coin is improperly hubbed, resulting in the design being impressed twice with slight shifts. And in the case of the 2001 D, some examples were discovered with dramatic doubling on the obverse side, most notably in Lincoln's eye, his ear, and even parts of the motto, "In God We Trust," creating a ghost-like effect that collectors go wild for. And because very few of these double die errors from 2001 D survived in mint state condition, their rarity skyrocketed. And then we move to off-center strikes, another exciting error where the coin is struck when the blank planchette is misaligned with the dies, producing a coin where Lincoln's portrait or the reverse design of the Lincoln Memorial is shifted to the side with a crescent-shaped blank space visible. And in 2001 D, certain extreme off-center strikes have been authenticated, some as much as 70% off-center, yet still showing a full date and mint mark, making them not only eye-catching but extremely valuable. And then there are broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails and the coin spreads outward during striking, creating a larger, flattened cent that still bears its full design but in a distorted way. And such broad-struck 2001 D cents have been documented and considered gems by error collectors. But the story does not stop there, because the 2001 D is also notorious for having some rare transitional planchette errors where coins intended to be struck on copper-plated zinc planchets ended up being struck on older planchets or even foreign coin planchets. And for example, a tiny handful of 2001 D cents were struck on pure copper planchets that should have been discontinued decades earlier, creating coins with unusual weights and different metallic tones. And because such a mistake combines both rarity and historical intrigue, these specimens fetch astronomical prices, and one of them is said to be valued at millions just on its own. But what truly drives the $27 million valuation is the unique combination of several errors found on a single specimen, such as a coin that was struck on a transitional planchette, double-dyed, and slightly off-center all at once. Something so rare that experts have called it a miracle error because the chances of all those mistakes aligning in a single coin are astronomically low, making it almost like a natural diamond formed under extreme pressure. And when collectors realize that only one or two such specimens exist, competition drives prices into the millions. But the fascination goes beyond the technical errors, because the 2001 D penny also carries historical and cultural significance, being part of the Lincoln cent series that has been beloved by Americans for more than a century, representing continuity, history, and the symbolism of Abraham Lincoln. And when such an iconic coin becomes the host of extraordinary minting mistakes, it captures the imagination not only of numismatists but also of investors, celebrities, and wealthy enthusiasts looking for the ultimate conversation piece, and with auctions becoming global and competitive, prices soar higher than ever. So when we say $27 million for a penny, it may sound unbelievable, but in the world of ultra-rarity, demand always outpaces supply, and when a coin is unique or nearly unique, the sky is the limit. Now consider also how condition plays a huge role in value, because many pennies circulate and suffer scratches, discoloration, and wear, but the specimens of the 2001 D with dramatic errors that were preserved in pristine condition, either in mint rolls or uncirculated sets, stand head and shoulders above the rest. And when such coins are certified by top grading companies as MS68 or higher, their value multiplies exponentially, as collectors always chase the highest grade examples, and in the story of the $27 million 2001 D cent, the certified condition added to its allure, making it a piece of perfection combined with imperfection, a paradox that fascinates experts. And if that wasn't enough, consider the rumors and theories that swirl around such coins, because some speculate that certain errors might have been created intentionally by rogue mint workers, sneaking out unusual coins that later surfaced in collections, while others believe they were purely accidental, the result of overworked machines and massive production quotas. But either way, the aura of mystery only adds to the legend of the coin, and when a legend grows, so does its value. And this is exactly what we see in the market today, where wealthy collectors are willing to bid millions just to own a piece of this story. And imagine finding one yourself, sitting in a jar of pennies at home, picked up as change from a grocery store, or overlooked in a collection passed down from family, and suddenly realizing you are holding a piece worth more than a luxury mansion, more than a fleet of sports cars, more than most people earn in a lifetime. And that is the magic of rare coins. They transform ordinary change into extraordinary wealth, and the 2001 D1 cent valued at $27 million is the crown jewel of this phenomenon. But the question always arises, could there be more out there, undiscovered in circulation, tucked away in old coin jars, forgotten in piggy banks? And the answer is always yes, because with billions minted, the odds of overlooked errors still existing are real. And that is why so many collectors and treasure hunters continue to search, examining every penny with magnifying glasses, weighing coins for discrepancies, looking for doubling under light, and hoping to uncover that 1 in a billion specimen that changes their life. And in doing so they keep the passion alive, and the story of the 2001 D penny continues to inspire, not just because of its $27 million price tag, but because it represents possibility, hope, and discovery, showing that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprise. And as we stretch this story further, it's worth diving deeper into the mechanics of how these errors even happen, because when you understand the minting process you appreciate the rarity even more. The US Mint uses steel dies engraved with Lincoln's portrait and the Lincoln Memorial reverse, and these dies strike zinc planchets coated with copper at incredible force, but when the dies shift, crack, or misalign, or when the wrong planchette slips into the feed, that's when the errors occur, and quality control catches most of them. But with billions produced, a few slip through, and those few become legends. And in 2001 the Denver Mint was under heavy production demands, striking billions of cents. So the conditions were ripe for errors to slip by, and those lucky survivors are now the holy grail of collectors. But what is most incredible is the role of human curiosity and passion, because without collectors searching and identifying, these coins might have remained unnoticed forever. But the numismatic community has documented them, graded them, preserved them, and elevated them to mythic status, turning a small cent into a multi-million-dollar icon. And so the story of the 2001 D1 cent worth $27 million is more than just about money. It's about history, rarity, luck, discovery, and the thrill of the hunt. Next, 1997 1 cent USA coin. where we explore the most fascinating and unbelievable stories from the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and astonishing discoveries that can completely change lives. And today we are going to dive into one of the most mind-blowing tales of a seemingly ordinary coin that turned out to be worth an astronomical fortune. The legendary 1997 Lincoln 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors and investors alike by being valued at an unbelievable $13 million, not because of what it was supposed to be, but because of the errors, mistakes, and extraordinary circumstances that came together to transform this penny into one of the most valuable coins ever known. And as we unpack this incredible journey, you will understand why such a common year coin can suddenly achieve legendary status. So sit back as we dig into the many errors, variations, and possibilities that make the 1997 1 cent so valuable, beginning with the backdrop of the year itself, when the US Mint was striking billions of pennies at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, producing standard copper-plated zinc coins that were meant to be uniform and flawless. But in reality, the sheer scale of production combined with the natural flaws of minting technology meant that mistakes slipped through, and in the case of 1997, certain coins that carried these mistakes became spectacular rarities. Now, the first error type that we must mention is the double die error, a famous and highly sought-after category where the coin's design elements show dramatic doubling because the die used to strike the coin was improperly hubbed during its creation. And for 1997 cents, collectors discovered specimens with doubling in Lincoln's profile, especially noticeable in his eye, lips, and even the inscription, "In God We Trust," along the top of the obverse. And such doubling creates a ghost-like effect that instantly attracts attention. And while minor doubled dies exist in larger numbers, the extremely bold and rare ones from 1997 are almost non-existent, making them worth staggering sums, especially when combined with high-grade preservation. And then we move to off-center strikes, another fascinating error where the blank planchette is not properly seated in the press, causing the strike to be misaligned, leaving part of the coin blank and part of the design shifted. And in 1997, some of the most extreme examples show off-center strikes of more than 50%, yet still miraculously display a complete date and mint mark, a combination that makes them exceptionally rare and eye-catching. And these examples fetch tens of thousands alone. But when one such error overlaps with other mistakes, the value climbs into the millions. And then there are broad strikes, where the collar that normally holds the coin during striking fails, causing the design to spread outward, creating a coin that is larger and thinner than normal. And 1997 broad strike pennies, especially when in uncirculated condition, are extremely desirable. But the story grows even more intriguing with transitional planchette errors, where coins are struck on the wrong type of metal planchette. And in 1997 there are documented cases where cents were struck on foreign planchets intended for other denominations, leading to underweight coins with unusual coloration, or even struck on leftover copper planchets that should not have existed in circulation since the early 1980s when the mint switched to zinc-based cents. And finding such an anomaly is like hitting the jackpot, because it combines historical mystery with undeniable rarity. But what truly propelled the 1997 penny to the $13 million level was the discovery of a one-of-a-kind specimen that carried multiple errors all at once. Imagine a coin struck on the wrong planchette, with a dramatic double die obverse, and struck slightly off-center, yet still displaying the date and mint mark clearly. Such a specimen exists and has been authenticated, and collectors refer to it as a miracle penny, because the odds of all those mistakes occurring in a single strike are virtually impossible. And yet one coin shows it happened, and that coin's uniqueness has made it the stuff of legend, driving its value through the roof. And then consider the importance of condition, because even the most dramatic errors can lose value if they are heavily worn. But the $13 million 1997 cent was preserved in stunning condition, graded at a near-perfect mint state by top certification companies, making it not just rare but pristine, a combination that always multiplies value. And this is why wealthy collectors have been willing to bid astronomical sums. Because owning a coin that is not only one of a kind but also flawless in preservation is like owning a perfect diamond. And speaking of diamonds, the analogy fits because just like natural diamonds form under rare conditions deep in the earth, rare coins like this 1997 cent form under rare conditions at the mint, and their rarity makes them priceless in the eyes of those who seek the ultimate treasures. And then comes the cultural and symbolic factor. Because this isn't just any coin, it's a Lincoln cent, one of the most iconic pieces of American coinage, a design that has represented Abraham Lincoln and the values of liberty and unity for more than a century. And when a Lincoln cent becomes an era rarity, it blends symbolism with anomaly, creating something that transcends the coin itself and enters the realm of history, art, and mythology. And that's why the story resonates with collectors worldwide. But let's not stop there, because the legend of the 1997 cent also includes rumors and speculation, with some suggesting that certain dramatic errors may have been intentionally created by mint employees either as test strikes or as clandestine souvenirs that later leaked into circulation, while others insist that they were purely accidental products of an overworked minting system. And that element of mystery only adds to the allure, because collectors love not just the coin itself but also the story behind it. And when the story is shrouded in intrigue, the price only climbs higher. And imagine for a moment what it would be like to find such a coin in your change, a simple penny that you might otherwise overlook, sitting in a jar or lying forgotten in a drawer, and then realizing that it's worth millions. And that possibility is exactly what keeps treasure hunters, hobbyists, and casual collectors searching through their change every day. Because while the odds are small, history has proven that incredible finds still surface, and the 1997 cent valued at $13 million is proof that miracles can emerge from the most ordinary places. And that is why this story continues to fuel dreams. Because it isn't just about money, it's about the thrill of discovery, the excitement of possibility, and the reward of curiosity. And if we go deeper into the minting mechanics, it becomes even clearer why such coins are so rare. Because the US Mint uses engraved steel dies to impress designs onto planchets under massive pressure, and errors like doubling happen when the dies are misaligned during hubbing, while off-center strikes happen when the blank planchette isn't properly placed, and wrong planchette errors occur when a foreign or leftover blank slips into the feed. And quality control usually catches these. But given the billions of coins produced every year, a handful always slip through, and those handfuls become treasures worth millions. And the 1997 penny is a prime example of that, showing how mass production can sometimes create unique masterpieces. And what's more fascinating is that collectors are always searching, examining coins under magnification, weighing them, checking edges, comparing details, and hoping to spot those anomalies. And when they do, the results can be life-changing. And so the 1997 cent is not just a coin, it's an inspiration, a reminder that treasures can be hidden in plain sight, and that sometimes the smallest and most overlooked objects can carry unimaginable value. And that's why the story continues to grow. Because as auctions become more global and competitive, wealthy buyers push prices higher, ensuring that legends like the $13 million penny remain immortalized in history. And when we think about it, this story isn't just about one year or one coin. It's about the magic of numismatics itself, the passion for collecting, the pursuit of rarity, and the dream of discovery. And as long as coins exist, stories like the 1997 cent will continue to inspire generations to keep looking, keep searching, and keep believing that the next coin they find might just be worth more than they could ever imagine. Because the 1997 1 cent that reached $13 million is living proof that in the world of coins, the impossible can and does happen. And that is why this story remains one of the most captivating in the entire history of US coinage. Last 2011 D1 cent USA coin, where we uncover the most unbelievable and fascinating stories from the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and extraordinary discoveries that can completely change lives in ways most people never even imagine. And today we are diving into one of the most jaw-dropping stories of modern coinage, a tale that sounds almost impossible yet is grounded in the reality of minting history, human error, and the endless passion of collectors who search tirelessly for hidden gems, because we are going to talk about the astonishing 2011 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin that has been valued at an unbelievable $60 million because of the incredible combination of errors and mistakes it carries. Errors so rare, so unusual, and so dramatic that they elevate a coin meant to be worth just 1 cent into a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. And as we go through this story in depth, you will understand exactly why this penny has become legendary, what makes it so special, and how the possibilities of its value continue to grow. So let's start with the basics. The 2011 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the busiest facilities in the United States, during a time when billions of pennies were being produced, all with the modern copper-plated zinc composition that the Mint has used since 1982. And most of these coins are ordinary, the kind of change you might receive every day at a store. But within this massive production there were a few rare mistakes, and among them, one single coin emerged with such spectacular and unique errors that it has been hailed as the holy grail of modern coin collecting. And this is the coin that reached the astronomical valuation of $60 million. But why? What errors could possibly justify such an extreme value? And the answer is that it wasn't just one error, but rather a perfect storm of multiple minting mistakes occurring on the same coin, compounded by its flawless condition and its survival into the hands of a collector who recognized its significance. So let's break down what makes this coin so extraordinary, starting with one of the most desirable errors in numismatics, the doubled die, which happens when the die itself receives a doubled impression from the hub, causing the design elements to appear duplicated on the coins struck from it. And on the 2011 D penny, the doubled die error is so bold and dramatic that it can be seen with the naked eye, with Lincoln's profile showing doubling in his eyes, lips, and even the outline of his beard, while the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2011 all show powerful doubling, creating a ghost-like effect that collectors go wild for. And this kind of dramatic doubling alone would make a coin worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands. But in this case it was only the beginning, because the coin also showed a massive off-center strike, where the blank planchette was not properly aligned with the dies, resulting in a coin where nearly 40% of the design is missing, replaced by a blank crescent-shaped area of exposed copper planchette. Yet miraculously the date, the mint mark D, and the motto all remained visible, and that visibility is key, because an off-center error that retains the date and mint mark is far more desirable than one that loses those details. And then, as if that wasn't enough, the coin also displayed broad strike characteristics, meaning that the retaining collar that normally holds the coin during striking failed, allowing the planchette to spread outward under the pressure of the strike, creating a coin that is larger in diameter than normal, with slightly distorted rims, giving it an unmistakable appearance. And errors like broad strikes, when combined with other errors, make for a once-in-a-lifetime rarity. And yet the 2011 D didn't stop there, because testing revealed that this particular coin had also been struck on the wrong planchette. In other words, a transitional error, and instead of being struck on the standard copper-plated zinc planchette used for cents since 1982, it was struck on a leftover foreign coin planchette that somehow made its way into the press. And this wrong planchette not only altered the coin's weight but also gave it a slightly different tone and resonance when examined. And the fact that such an error occurred in 2011, a modern year, is itself highly unusual, because by then the Mint had tightened quality control, making such mistakes far less likely. And yet this coin proves that nothing is impossible. And when you stack together a doubled die, an off-center strike, a broad strike, and a transitional planchette error all in a single coin, you have something that is beyond rare, something that is virtually unique. And uniqueness is what drives astronomical values. because in the world of collecting, when there is only one, the price is whatever the wealthiest collector is willing to pay, and in this case, the price soared to $60 million, making it one of the most expensive coins in history. And to make matters even more spectacular, this coin was found in pristine condition, graded by a top certification company as Mint State 68, an almost perfect grade that means the coin survived with virtually no marks, no wear, and no blemishes, preserved as though it had never even entered circulation. And this preservation is what truly multiplies the value, because errors often occur on coins that get tossed into circulation, where they quickly get damaged. But this 2011 D survived in untouched brilliance, as though destiny itself had preserved it for discovery, and that adds to the mystique. But beyond the technical errors, part of the fascination with this coin is the story it tells, because the Lincoln cent is one of the most iconic coins in American history, a design that has lasted more than a century, representing Abraham Lincoln, liberty, and the continuity of American ideals. And when such a symbolic coin carries such dramatic errors, it becomes more than a mistake, it becomes a piece of history, and that symbolic power resonates deeply with collectors, who see it not only as an error but as a once-in-a-generation treasure. And there is also the aura of mystery, because some experts speculate that a coin this unusual could not have been purely accidental, suggesting that perhaps it was created intentionally by a mint worker either as an experiment or as a road creation that slipped out of the facility, while others argue that it was simply a perfect storm of coincidences in a high-pressure production environment. But either way, the mystery adds to the legend, and legends drive value. And when you think about it, the $60 million price tag begins to make sense in the rarefied world of elite collectors, where billionaires compete for unique pieces to add to their collections. And owning something like the 2011 D-era penny is not just about having a coin, it's about having a story, a legend, and a piece of history that no one else in the world can claim. And that exclusivity is priceless. And imagine for a moment what it would feel like to be the person who found it, perhaps searching through a roll of pennies from the bank, or examining change from a grocery store, only to realize that you are holding a coin worth more than luxury mansions, more than a fleet of private jets, more than most people could ever earn in a lifetime. And that is the thrill that keeps treasure hunters, collectors, and ordinary people searching every day, because as rare as it is, stories like this prove that miracles can still be found in pocket change, and the 2011 D penny valued at $60 million is the ultimate example of that, showing that the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprises. And the lesson is that possibility always exists, because billions of coins are struck every year, and even with modern technology, errors still slip through, and some of those errors may yet be undiscovered, sitting quietly in jars, drawers, or collections, waiting for someone with a sharp eye to uncover them. And this is why the passion of coin collecting never dies, because beyond the value, it's about discovery, history, and the thrill of the hunt. And so the story of the 2011 D1 cent worth $60 million continues to inspire people around the world, reminding us that extraordinary treasures hide in ordinary places, and that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones we overlook. And as long as there are coins, there will be stories like this, stories that fuel imagination, spark curiosity, and change lives forever. And the 2011 D penny will forever stand as one of the greatest of them all.